What's going on, guys? We got a full lineup of topics we're going to be discussing today, starting off with UFC 308, which is coming up. I'm going to give you the breakdown and the predictions for that card. Also, we got some UFC matchmaking for early 2025. I got some great ideas, and I tell you what, I think this is the direction that the UFC should go to start off the new year. Also, boxing fights that need to happen, okay, guys? I got a whole list of absolutely amazing fights that should be made in boxing. And we're also going to talk about the first Power Slap event that isn't in Vegas. So we're going to touch on all this stuff. Anyways, please stay tuned, and let's get into the video. Okay, so UFC 308, we're going to start with the prelims. And I'll tell you one that jumps right off the bat for me, Justin Tafa as an underdog. Kennedy Nzechukwu is the favorite in this fight. And let's be honest, guys, his last fight, he fought Ovince St. Preux and lost a decision against him. Justin Tafa is a real heavyweight, a big, fat guy who's really powerful. And I think he can knock this dude out. I'm honestly not too impressed by anything that I have seen from this guy. Also, on this card, moving up, I'm going to go with Abus Magomedov. I like Said Nurmagomedov. Oralbai, who's a great fighter. I'm going to pick him in his fight as well. Jeff Neal versus RDA. This is an interesting fight. RDA is getting a little bit older, and Jeff Neal is, lost a couple fights in a row now as well. But Jeff Neal's been fighting some of the absolute best guys in the division. So I'm going to go with Neal. He's got great boxing. He hits hard. Dangerous fighter. And that's for the prelims right there. So now moving on to the main card, Shar Bullet. I'm going to pick him against Armen Petrosyan. Now, this is interesting to me. Magomed Ankalaev versus Alexander Rakic. Now, they have Ankalaev at a minus 395 compared to Rakic at a plus 310, which in my opinion, I'll tell you what, I would lean Ankalaev in this fight, but these odds are really making me want to pick Rakic because that is absolutely ridiculous. Rakic is a good fighter, and in order to beat a guy like Rakic, I feel like you need to have power or crazy durability and be in his face the whole time. In a slow, technical fight, I definitely think Alexander Rakic can present issues to Magomed Ankalaev. So that is a really close and competitive fight, and those odds are wild. So I'm actually going to pick the underdog here. I'm going to go with Alexander Rakic winning decision. Moving up the card, Lauren Murphy versus Dan Ige. Another close competitive fight. I'm going to go with the youth on this one, Lauren Murphy, to get this one done. Now, I'll tell you what. Probably the second most hyped up fight on the card, and a fight that was scheduled before and it got canceled, and now we're rebooked and we're here. Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev. Now, I'll tell you what, it seems like the consensus online is most people think Robert Whittaker is going to win, but they have Khamzat Chimaev at almost a minus 200 favorite here. So this one is really interesting to me. I'll tell you what, obviously everyone knows the longer this fight goes, the more it favors Whittaker, especially in this fight, which I believe is 5 rounds. So if Chimaev does not finish Whittaker in the first round or first 2 rounds, things could start looking real interesting because Whittaker is a tough, durable guy. But Khamzat Chimaev is an animal when it comes to the grappling. He's got good submissions. So this fight to me is it's a toss-up, but I just think if I'm going to make a pick here, I think Whittaker is durable enough to survive the early onslaught of Chimaev, and I think he's going to survive, and he's going to start picking him apart, and I think he's going to TKO him late in the fight around maybe the 4th or 5th round. And the main event, a fight that I believe, every MMA fan has been looking forward to for a while now. Ilia Topuria, Max Holloway. Man, this is such a good fight right here. Topuria obviously coming off of a big knockout win against Volkanovski. And Max Holloway, big win against Justin Gaethje. So here's the thing about this fight. Topuria is a dangerous fighter, man. He is extremely dangerous. He's got really good combos. But I'll tell you what, for being the best boxer in the UFC, he doesn't really have much of a jab, at least from the fights that I've seen. He doesn't really set much of his stuff behind his jab. Most of the stuff he blitzes in and throws like a power combination, rips to the body, comes up to the head. Seems like that's where he does most of his work. Whereas Max Holloway, I feel like Max Holloway has evolved, and yes, he has taken a lot of shots throughout his career, but his style is not the same anymore, whereas he doesn't really take as many shots as he used to. He's not like in your face the whole time. He's more of an in-and-out fighter. I think Holloway's chin is durable enough to not get knocked out by Topuria, and he also has really good kicks. He's got, I just think Holloway can mix up this fight more. And it's a close fight, but having Topuria at nearly a minus 300 is kind of wild in my opinion. And I'm going to go with Max Holloway to beat Ilia Topuria. If Ilia does knock out Max, though, I'll be so sad because I believe all the real MMA fans here want Max to win, but are worried about Topuria. And I'll tell you what, Topuria is dangerous, but if I'm putting my money down, I'm just going to lean Max in this fight. I think stylistically, Max can beat Topuria. Anyone else notice how there's no WMMA fights on the entire card, which is, a bit shocking. But honestly, if you really think about it, it's not. Obviously, I feel like they put in more effort whenever they go to Saudi Arabia because they get all the damn money, all the damn oil money. So it is kind of ridiculous, and it is a bit of a slap in the face to the U.S. fans, giving us, co-main events consistent of Raquel Pennington and Juliana Pena. But, that's just the way it is now. Okay, now time for some quick matchmaking. UFC 311 and 312, it seems like they've already confirmed that California and Australia will be the first two destinations for the UFC in the next year. Now, Islam versus Arman, that's obviously the fight that they're going to make, and they're probably going to do that one in California. Also, Merab, he should be defending his belt on the card. I did put Umar on this wallpaper, but it seems like they've given Umar a fight against Song Yudong, so I guess you can switch out Umar for maybe a Davison Figueiredo, or who knows, maybe a Sean O'Malley rematch, but I doubt that they would put Sean O'Malley as a co-main event, and who knows, we'll see what they do with that. UFC 312, that's going to be in February. We're going to put Alex Pereira on this card, and they'll probably give the winner of Rakic versus Ankalaev this fight. So I think Alex Pereira versus Ankalaev, which would be a good time for Pereira to return. UFC 313, UFC 313. I'll tell you what, they haven't been to Detroit since 2018, and Strickland was complaining, saying that he wanted to fight Dracus in America. Well, I'll tell you what, you can get your wish. Let's book this fight in Detroit, in America, and that'd be great. I'd be very happy about that, considering I live in the area. I'd definitely go to that. All right, over to boxing now. Fights that need to happen, obviously, on the screen. Let's start off right away. Bivol Beterbiev. We need to see a rematch of that fight, as I discussed in my last video. It was a really good fight, a really competitive fight as well, and a fight that I really don't think settled the score. I do believe there is some unfinished business because there's arguments for both guys. I personally thought it was a draw, and I think they should definitely run that one back. Canelo, Benavidez, I don't want to beat a dead horse. Everyone knows that that's the fight to make. Canelo's a coward, though, so we'll see. They need to make that fight. Maybe, who knows, do a deal with Turki Al-Ashish. Go over to Saudi Arabia, and you'll get your... You get the money you're asking for, Canelo. Just please make that fight. Daniel Dubois, the IBF heavyweight champion. I'll tell you what, I think a good fight for him would be Joseph Parker, because the belt's going to be tied up, and Usyk is going to be fighting Tyson Fury in a rematch. So I don't want to see Dubois sit on the sideline this whole time and wait to get a rematch with either Usyk, or if Fury wins, it's going to be tied up even longer because they'll do a trilogy. So keep Dubois active, fight Joseph Parker. I think that's a good fight in the meantime. Anthony Joshua. Look, man, you just got knocked out brutally in your last fight. Take some time off. I want to see you back, though, by early next year, and you need to prove that you can still bang with some of the big guys in the heavyweight division. You need to prove your durability. I think a good rebound fight and a winnable fight is Zhang. Joshua versus Zhang. That'll prove Joshua still has it and still has the hunger, because he needs to prove himself against another big physical heavyweight. Another person who needs to prove themselves is Devin Haney. After getting whooped by Ryan Garcia, he was... It's crazy that he's lost to Vasily Lomachenko and he's lost to Ryan Garcia, and they still have him undefeated on BoxRec. So he's going to have to prove himself again. I believe he lost that fight to Lomo. So why don't you rematch him? We'll make that fight junior welterweight, 140 pounds, Haney versus Lomachenko too. Also, Terrence Crawford, I'm going to book him against Tim Tszyu. It seems like everybody's forgotten about Tim Tszyu, and I like that guy a lot. He's a great fighter. He lost his last fight, but he got a massive cut over his forehead in the Sebastian Fundora fight, and because of the cut, he couldn't really see that much out of his eye, and Fundora was starting to outland him. But in the early rounds, you could definitely see Tim Tszyu is the far, far superior fighter, and I just think that Crawford versus Tim Tszyu is a badass fight and a competitive one as well. Okay, and moving on to Power Slap. So that's actually a topic that I felt like discussing with you guys on the channel. So this is the first Power Slap event that isn't in Nevada. So Dana loves to either host events in Vegas or Saudi Arabia, because Vegas, obviously the fight capital of the world. He's got a lot of his business over there. He's knows a lot of people over there, and then he loves Saudi Arabia, obviously, because all the money that they throw at him. Now, the whole reason I wanted to touch on this is because the people who are headlining this slap show, the Crazy Hawaiian versus Dumpling, it's an awesome slap fight because both of these dudes are like 400 pounds and they freaking hit like trucks. So one of these guys is going to be knocked out, and that should be funny. So I'll watch that, and I think it's going to be really funny, like I said. So you can catch those on Rumble. That's it for today, folks. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and we're going to try to keep this up. So have a good one, guys.